really proud of the guys. It was a hard-fought game against the number 2 team in the country. Even game in the first half, even though we just, like everybody else, we weren't able to run the ball. And that's something that we felt like we could run enough that we could protect better than we did. But you can't rush for 87 yards and have 6 sacks and beat anybody, much less a really, really good football team. So give Notre Dame credit. They're really, really good. When they stepped up in the second half on defense, they really stepped up. I was really, really proud of our defense and our kicking game. That's by far the best either one of them have done. Our defense kept hanging in there, and our kicking game gave us great field position. And our offense was really, really good the first half. I actually thought we'd win the game, and then Notre Dame just absolutely shut us down the second half. I'll let Phil tell you after he watches the video with the offensive staff what happened. You saw it, I saw it. Looked like they whipped us up front, and they got too much pressure on Sam, didn't have enough time to get the ball to the guys, and we knew that was an issue. Unless we could run the ball well enough in this game, we knew that we couldn't protect well enough to get the ball downfield, and we had to throw the ball to win the game. We knew that, and give Notre Dame credit for getting that done. Questions?
Okay, thanks, Coach. If you have a question, please use the raise hand function. Our first question will come from C.L. Brown. So go ahead, C.L.
All right, Mack. Did Notre Dame do anything in terms of their front four? Was it anything, technical that they did from their scheme, or was it just a matter of physically you felt like they controlled the line of scrimmage?
No, probably a combination of both, CL. Again, I said Phil's going to talk about all that on Monday, so if I'm going to discuss all that here, we don't need Phil. So we'll let him tell you exactly what happened. I thought they blitzed more the second half. That put us in one-on-one situations where we couldn't help out each other, and some of our guys just got whipped.
And in terms of building this program, is that kind of a front four, is that where you want to get to? Is that what you're trying to emulate in terms of a defensive line that can kind of control a game? Yeah,
they've got 16 seniors. And it's an older football team. I think, Brian's been there 11 years or something, 10 or 11. And you can tell they're big, they're strong, they're fast, they're confident. And we had a lot of freshmen playing on defense tonight that I was really, really proud of. But we just didn't hold up offensively the second half.
Okay, let's please go over to Brendan Marks.
Mack, you had mentioned earlier this week that this game obviously was going to be a measuring stick for you guys as far as how far along you were in the rebuild, and obviously you've said throughout the year that you guys are further ahead maybe than where you would have anticipated. What does this game tell you in terms of that measuring stick about where this program is?
I think it tells us that we're really, really close to where we need to be. We need spring practice. We got to get more depth, like CL said, on defense. A lot of those guys are playing, they lose contain, or they jump off sides, or they're not sure who's supposed to be out there and they run off, and we're trying to get freshmen. It's like herding cattle sometimes on that sideline with those young ones. They're so excited. And then offensively, we just absolutely got hit in the mouth. It was in the second half and didn't respond very well. So I told the team in the locker room we don't have moral victories, but I'm really, really proud of their effort. And that the biggest thing for me is that the offense has played well all year, and the defense has not. They've been up and down. The special teams has been up and down, and special teams were really, really good tonight. We kicked every kickoff out of in the back of the end zone. He averaged 50-something yards per punt, so we really handled field position throughout the night, and Grayson Atkins hit his one field goal. And we covered the punts really well after we punted them, and then the defense played really well. So if we'll go back and get the offense back on track, put all three phases together, we still haven't played near our best game. But I think, Brendan, this shows us where we're headed, and it shows us what we can do.
Okay, our next question comes from Andrew Jones.
Hey, Coach. Went into the decision to start, I guess, 3 freshmen on defense. A lot of them played early. And how do you think those guys handled leading up to a game like this, knowing that they were going to have an opportunity to get on the field a lot early?
I think it's really helped us, Andrew, that the guys now are expecting to play, so they're practicing much better, and it puts them in a position when that our practices are better. That's why we'll have good practices this week, because everybody wants to play. And then what you do is we're all kind of lost. We've said this after games before. Everybody sees the obvious. The obvious is our defense played better than they have, and the offense didn't in the second half. And we had us a heck of a game there starting the second half and just didn't respond as well. So what we'll do is we'll go back and look at all the young guys on defense, because we're playing a lot more young guys on defense than we are offense. And we'll just try to figure out why we didn't block them as well, why the running game wasn't productive, and why we have sacks, because it's unfair to a quarterback to be harassed like that, and he's not sure how long he's got to sit back there, and we can't do that again for Sam. But defensively, there were a lot of good things today. A lot of secondary guys played, a lot of guys up front played, and I thought from what I could tell, just like you guys, from what I could tell, they played pretty well.
Penalties were an issue. They had a 97-yard drive, 3 penalties for 35 yards on that drive.
I can't hear you, Andrew.
3 penalties for 35 yards on their 97-yard drive. How frustrating is it that penalties were a factor, especially at some inopportune times?
Yeah, I can't hear. Something about 35 yards. Did you...
Penalties on the 97-yard drive.
He's asking about penalties, Mack.
Oh, penalties, yeah. I'm really surprised you all would ask. Little humor there. I thought that there were too many. Usually, if you're playing against a great team, you're going to have more penalties, especially if your offensive line's having trouble blocking them. You're going to hold more. If your corners are having trouble covering them, and those big receivers, so I think we had 2 pass interference or 1 holding penalty where he threw it about 42 rows up in the seats, and then we had the pass interference call. Diami's was unacceptable from what it looked like. I didn't see it on the field, but it looked like they were saying he pushed back. We can't get frustrated and do that. But, you know, there was some conversation over whether Ray's on the 4th and 1, which was a huge play for us. It cost us a possession, whether he was offsides or not. Some people said, the TV people thought that he was not offsides and the center reached out to grab him. So once again, Andrew, we can sit here and discuss all the penalties tonight, but I'd rather look at them and see if they were penalties and send them to the conference office, because we're getting 3 or 4 back usually that weren't penalties during the game. So until we start being critical of kids, I'd like to know that it was a penalty.
Okay, let's move over to Greg Barnes.
Mack, you answered my question there, but I was going to ask if you got a look at that 4th and 1 offside call on the video board, and regardless, kind of what's the lesson to be learned that can be taught to the guys from a play like that?
Well, Greg, everybody that was in the stadium and everybody watching the game knew what they were doing. So we can't have somebody offsides. I mean, that's ridiculous. It shouldn't have been close. Shouldn't have moved. They weren't going to go for it. But at the same time, you want to be fair to the young man, and you're also not supposed to have a quarterback who is moving with deception to act like he's going to snap the ball and to pull you offside. So that'll be one of the ones that we'll look at closely. And let me say at the same time, Ian Book was as good tonight as anybody I've ever seen. We couldn't tackle him. I mean, we harassed him. We had people around him. There could have been 6 sacks. We could not get him on the ground. And then he made some unbelievable plays on 3rd down. So I don't know if he's in the Heisman race or not, but he should be. His record's 29-3. He's fast. He's quick. He's accurate. He's smart. He's not going to do things to get his team beat. But I was so impressed with him tonight. I was impressed with him as much as any quarterbacks I've seen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll close up with Coach Brown with Alyssa Ray. Go ahead, Alyssa.
Coach, you guys have one of the best backfields in the country. For them to hold him under 100 yards rushing, what does that say about their run defense?
Alyssa, it shows the same run defense that held ETN to about 40 yards. And Clemson to none. I mean, they're really, really good. And we knew that going in, but the difference was Clemson was able to protect well enough to throw for 400 and something yards. And I thought we had an opportunity to do that, and we were doing it in the first half until we got really, really backed up. But we lost our momentum when they punted us down to the 2 twice, and we never got it back. So it's just a credit to them. They're really, really good on defense against the run. They're as good as anybody in the country.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach, thanks for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you all.